Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. When you see this sweater, it's friggin' cold out. It's freezing out here, and I know a lot of you are in that freezing cold weather. And so maybe we'll get through this fairly quick. I was talking to New Zealand yesterday, and they're in their summer. And it's like, oh man, wait a minute. I need to find where the summer always is around. So I want to probably carry on this morning as fast as I can because really my time, I'm trying to get these every morning, but Friday. This is Thursday, so Friday's tomorrow. I'm going to try to slip in here and do a couple, 3 hours or so. Brandon, settle down, son. Frugivore species and islanders. I mean, you can rationalize all you want, and I understand your position. And my position is not far from that, actually. I don't push frugivorish lifestyles, and you know that. But that is the lifestyle of the Homo sapien, whether you're living in northern climates or not. The idea of eating meat is not healthy, period. Grass-fed, newspaper with urine fed, seen that. Downs cattle fed, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you feed the animals. When you eat dead tissue, it's dead tissue. There's nothing healthy about it at all for any place you live. We're frugivores whether you're living in Alaska or whether you're living in California. You're still a frugivore. And how interesting is it, Brandon, that you can use the fruit level to cure everything on the planet, but you couldn't use the diet you're recommending to cure anything. You have to come off of that diet. I also understand that, and I've never pushed the fruitarian diet for those that want to, try to achieve that. Yeah, quality of fruit sucks. Yeah, we all know that, Brandon. We all know that, all of us. But you have to be careful with the intellect. What probably you don't understand, and a lot of people don't understand. When I'm a product of 40 years of investigating this. You're new. I've spent 40 years looking at this in every way you can imagine. I'm very familiar with all the concepts of anthropology and everything. I'm very familiar. That's why I'm where I'm at. Irregardless, and I don't care how a person eats, to be honest with you. I don't push 100% raw food diets on people nowadays. It's hard, very hard. But if you can maintain a high level of that, you need at least 70-80% raw food diet to maintain health in your body. And eating dead animals, there's nothing healthy about it whatsoever. I don't care if it's fish, chicken, beef, pork, ostrich, rattlesnake, kangaroo, it doesn't matter. Still dead tissue, still acidic. And when you made a comment that some people can handle protein and starch combinations, not on your life. Chemistry's chemistry, Brandon. I don't care if you're an Eskimo or you're an islander. Chemistry's chemistry in your body. And you can see in the Eskimos genetically how their bowels are shrinking because of the high protein diets, the short lifespans. It's all there. So I understand that. There's not a war here against you and me, but it's enough to say that I understand what you're saying. I don't totally go with everything you're saying here. However, I understand. If a person wants a piece of meat once in a while, do I care? No. I'm about the God part of life as opposed to the health, but I am a healer and a naturopath, and realistically, animal protein is not healthy for anyone, period. You can claim you need it, but that's just going to your own personal issues. You might claim that some people need it because of their consciousness, and I probably wouldn't argue with that. Some people feel they need meat, they have to have meat, because they feel they have to have meat, not because they have to have it for any health reason. There's nothing healthy about dead tissue and stagnant blood. Nothing whatsoever. Magnetically or chemically, nothing like that. It leaches calcium out of your body. There's no way you can convince anybody that eating meat is healthy. I don't care who says what about it. Let them go and do whatever they want. We're all healers on this channel. And if you want to heal people, I suggest that you don't get too carried away with this, because you're not going to heal people putting them on this diet. They'll feel better, no question. They'll feel better. And I understand that this is Brandon X. I understand this whole thing, where you're going. I really do. But if I allowed my clients to get that attitude, I wouldn't have the success that we're having in healing. It's your job as a healer, if you want to be a healer, Your job is to get your client through the detoxification process, and on the other side of that, so they're out of pain, they have no tumors, and they have no cancer. And you just have to do that. Whether you say there's lousy fruit or not, I don't care. I mean, look at the vegetarian. A good example is the cure rate, and I use that not as a disease type of focus, but look at the difference between the success that I have in my clinic and the Hippocrates has. My success rate is at the top of the mountain compared to most people on the planet. I've never seen them regenerate quadriplegics, paraplegics, MS. I've never seen that. I have. I've regenerated some of the most twisted, curved bodies that you've ever seen. But I didn't do it on vegetables. Tried it on vegetables. Definitely been there. So you have to understand, I've got 40 years behind me in this level of work. So, okay, I have no judgment in people's diets. You all know that. I've said that. Some of you have been down on me for having that kind of attitude. Because they're the raw fooders that are just raw, pounding raw. Now, I had that attitude at one time, pound the raw. And that's what it takes to get well, though, guys. Don't make no mistake. This is the kind of lifestyle you have to lead to get well. If you want to cure yourself, you got to move your lymph. And you're not going to move lymph on seeds and grasses and animal meat and stuff like that. You might maintain a fairly good lifestyle after you get through the detox, and I know that's what you're saying. But I suggest if you can get away from meat, stay away from meat. Stay away from the dairy. Stay away from a lot of this stuff. And if you have something once in a while, who cares? Developing one's own personal dietary habits after they get well, who cares? But I'm only in the process of getting well. I understand the process of what you living life outside of that realm. But I have to keep myself focused on this realm, because if I don't, I'll get too slack on my clients. And if I get too slack on my clients, they don't get the success. Because when my clients come in, let's say a month or two after I have them on I start them off with the detox kit and I really start moving them through this, then they come in, especially the men, and say, well, now what can I add to my regimen? Can I have nuts? Can I have a little piece of fish? You know what I do? No, I'm going to get more strict. I'm going to say, listen, let's do a fast. So you've got to, your job as a healer is to educate and walk with your client and love your client and walk with them and get them through this process of being well, because that's where we're at here on this channel. If you want to find any lifestyle after that, I don't care. But you have to understand, when you're eating a certain lifestyle and then you have to get away from that and go up into a fruitarian lifestyle to be well, what is that telling you? Okay. But I love you, baby. Let me see here. Oh, Danielle, yeah, you said a comment here. I'm getting sucked in by the cares of the world. I know. I am too in a little bit, and I try not to, because, but it's compassion for all the living creatures that have to deal with it, because we know each one is God in a form. Each individual thing you see is God in a form. It can't be anything other than that, because God is omnipresent. And when God is omnipresent and omnipotent and omniscient, there's nothing outside of that. You can't create outside of yourself if you're the all of the all. You can't have hell over there and heaven over here. Because in something that is infinite, there's no duality. There's no separation. There's only one God. For those, there are some Hindus, some people believe in several gods. And there are a lot of different overlords they claim on each one of these levels. I've talked to a couple myself. Paul Twitchell wrote a lot about it in the Tiger's Fang. And the Tiger's Fang is a journey to all the levels of heaven. Most of them you can study in all the religions up to the soul, what we call the soul plane or Satnam region. And only the Radhaswami and Ekankar masters have gotten into those levels. I've never seen anyone talk about God at those much, much higher levels. Most of the conversation about God is still wrapped up in the different levels of heaven and creation. So once you get used to these different levels and what they are, and problem is, unless someone really comes and explains them to you, it's hard, because religions are really kind of capping your ability to journey into the God worlds. Some have fear built around it. There's all kinds of problems with that. And really, one should never fear anything, because they are a representative of God. That's how God expresses itself. You can't take an infinite being and make it finite. So the only way you can make it finite is to create something it can work through that is finite, and of course, bodies. As much as we like them or dislike them, they are our instrument to be able to express at these mundane, very elemental levels. Soul can't be in creation. It can only use bodies to be in creation. You can't take something infinite and make it finite. You can make it appear finite. All right, stress and lump in throat. Ooh, is this, let me see here. It appears that there is something else. One of your other viewers who is experiencing a lump in the throat. Absolutely. I am learning a lot from your message. Yeah, I had the same thing, and I tell you, I know where Brandon is. I know all these, I was a fruitarian going down the other way at times, absolutely. And it wasn't because of the lack of food for me. It was just the high magnetic energy, and just when you're working with out-of-body travels, and you're working with the God force, and allowing spirit to flow through you at more and more increased levels, and then you're eating fruit, you really piling yourself on the positive side. Well, in creation, you can't just be positive. You've seen that in your lives, where you have the shifting between the two sides of negative and positive. If you can get yourself situated into the middle, which is the now, and in the now, that's the only place you'll find the infinite. Because if you get out of that infinite now, where there's no time, then you're in the worlds of time, and then you're in the past, and then you're in the future. So you're in time. So that middle path brings you to the now. So you can't live too far on the negative or too far on the positive. So those of you that have some negative experiences, don't beat yourself up. That's just the nature of the beast here. There's a lot of people that don't like themselves, that beat themselves up so much. And don't do that, lovely ones. You don't need to beat yourself up. You're the center core of everything you experience. No one experiences your world but you. If I've had similar experiences, I could sit down with you and communicate and talk with you and say, yeah, I've had similar experiences. What did you experience? But unless I walk in your shoes, I don't know. I can only see and understand what I've experienced. And if it looks similar, or you have similar experiences, because most experiences in creation are already created. Have you ever had a deja vu experience? You'll find that before you came in here, you already knew what you were going to experience. You already knew all these things. That's why you have intuition and inner guidance. Because there's nothing past soul or God or consciousness. There's nothing on the other side of that. It is total. It is inclusive. It's everything. And once one looks at that and understands that, then he begins to realize just who everything is on this planet. Who is all this stuff, and what are atoms and cells and all this stuff like that. But I got way off too myself. Someone offered me a Mountain Dew or something, and I got a major lump. It's so mucus forming, so much sugar. I just got an immediate big lump in my throat. And I used carrot juice to try to pull it out. And I did this over about 6 months with no success.